Hey everybody, Joel Rather here with Coach Pat Nolan. We're at Authentic Performance Center. We're part of the performance team here, and we're going to start today by going over all of the combine drills that you will see in any of your standard combine testing. The mission with this series is we're going to start by going through each drill kind of piece by piece. We want to build them together for you, show you how we coach the combine drills themselves, give you some insight into how to better execute them, and hopefully help you improve your times, improve your scores, and improve your combine experience as well as your performance. Our first drill that we're going to go over today is going to be our short shuttle pro agility, or what some people call 5-10-5. So to start with, what we're going to do is have Pat give us a demonstration of what the drill looks like. Then we're going to take back to the start of this drill, deconstruct a little bit, and kind of piece this thing together on how we start executing this drill kind of phase by phase. So Pat's going to give us a short demo here, and then we're going to talk about how to properly do it. So he's getting into a start position. He's going to take off, touch, back across, touch, and then finish back through.
So now we're going into the 40-yard dash, which will break down into our position, our stance, our drive phase, and then finishing through the 40. So Joel's going to get set up again, starting with his tuck jumps. Now he'll get his feet aligned. And using our heel to toe swivel, it keeps our feet hip width apart. We don't want to be too wide and we don't want to be too narrow in the start. So as he sets up, another good thing, when he gets his hands set on the line, he should be able to swivel his knee so he's not too jammed, as we see with a lot of athletes, and then too far away. So it should be just brushing that hand. So as he raises his hips, drives those heels to the ground, cocking those ankles with his shoulders in line with his hands, his head is perfectly tucked. We don't want to see, if you don't use the swivel technique, our feet might come up here and we're too jammed. And then also he might have his feet, which you see commonly is his back foot, to be way out here. So we want to be in that perfect position that sets us up with the heel to toe swivel. So right here, we have great shin angles, driving out, propelling us in that perfect angle we want to get into in our drive phase. So he's driving those heels. We don't want to be too far up. We want to be driving those, cocking those heels back. And right here, he is ready to explode out as he feels that falling sensation. Next, we'll go into our arm. So he has his arm down in that initial set. Because his right foot is back, we're going to drive our left hand back. So just like our pro shuttle, we're going to cock that hand right into our hip pocket. And when he's ready to take off, he's going to punch that hand, swinging it forward while he drives that right knee forward. Here we're going to work on our 3-cone or Eldra, whatever you prefer to call it, or your event calls it. It's starting off with our 40-yard dash acceleration with similar angles we create in our 5-10-5 or pro shuttle, and then we have a transitional acceleration phase to finish off the drill.
We have Pat set up in the proper position that we just went through. His toes are aligned. He's a proper distance away from the vertex. He's getting ready to prepare for his first repetition. The first thing that we typically do is we want to make sure the athlete understands that his feet need to stay flat to the ground, meaning that we don't want him to go up to his toes. We want to make sure that he's properly loading through the hips as he goes into the beginning motion of a vertical jump. So Pat's feet are nice and flat. He's the right distance away. He's going to start with his arms actually up in this position, okay? And our mission here is this is going to help us create better arm swing to accelerate into his vertical jump. It's kind of a rubber band effect where we want to try and load him up and then release that energy with his arm swing to get maximum height. So as Pat begins to go down, if he does this in slow motion, he's going to go back to what we call a pistols position. We want him to reach back into his back pockets like he's going to grab his wallet, or we like to say with kids, like you're grabbing your 6-shooters, he's reaching into his back pocket. So you can see he has a really nice loaded position. His shoulders are over his knees, so it creates a good angle at the hip, and his hips are loaded to prepare for maximum power up and out of that jump. So Pat starts back over, he's gonna go arms up, he's gonna go down to his load position, and then when he explodes up, he's gonna be reaching with his right arm as he goes up as high as he can. So as he explodes up, he's gonna reach and touch. The second section of our jump video is the broad jump. So very similar to our vertical jump, we're gonna have a very similar setup where Pat is going to assume an athletic position. We wanna make sure that the athlete understands the difference between a jump stance and a squat stance. So a jump stance is going to be much narrower. A squat stance is going to be typically where we may land or where we're going to be in a more stable position. So we want to make sure that the athlete is typically about a hip width apart stance, which is going to allow Pat to maximize his lower body power into his broad jump. So he's assumed that position. Notice where his toes are at. Just like with most of our other drills, we want to make sure that the athlete utilizes all of that start line as opposed to starting behind the line, especially knowing that this drill or this test is going to measure distance, okay? So we want to maximize that distance by taking up all of the line. Pat's going to assume a similar position where now he's going to reach up overhead like we did with our vertical jump. He's going to reach into his back pocket. Now instead of his arm swing being up, this time his arm swing is going to be out horizontally. So what we want him to do is maximize his trajectory out to achieve the longest jump that he can possibly get. So Pat's going to go into this position. You're going to see him go through his execution here and gets a nice jump out.